Hello, I'm Marcia Ogden. Welcome to my podcast, Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus. It's for anyone who's passed that milestone, like me, by a long chalk, and who, like me, has realised that we could be on this earth for another 30 or 40 years. So let's make the best of it. Welcome to episode 24 of the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast. This one's called Who is Bertie Bear? And you'll find out the answer shortly. Well, I don't know about you, but I've had quite a busy week, really intense. And of course, it's been quite a social time, hasn't it, with Halloween and bonfire night. We have a little family party for Halloween, and I always dress up and answer the door in costume. And this year, here's something for you. I was answering the door with my 7-year-old grandson, the youngest, and we were dressed up. And obviously everyone coming to the door was dressed up, and there were some really good, scary costumes. But one girl, I think she was probably about 11 or 12 years old. We found out from Google, because we had no idea who she was, but she was dressed as Barry Scott, who is the Silly Bang Man, apparently. And she said, "My name's Barry Scott, I mean you no harm." But we don't get it, even now. The only thing we can come up with is, was she American? Because apparently in America you don't have to dress up in scary costumes, you can just dress up. My son-in-law also thought, is it to do with, if we'd said trick rather than treat, would she have said their strapline, which is bang, it's gone? I don't know. It's puzzled us all week, because it's like, now, what, the 9th of November? And we're still trying to puzzle it out. Help! My guest this week is a lovely lady called Caroline James. Now, she's an author, and what drew me to her was that I found out that although writing had been her lifelong ambition, she didn't actually do anything about it until she was in her mid-50s. See, what do we always say? You're not too old and it's not too late. So we had a lovely chat earlier this week, and there is a surprise in there as well. Caroline's launching a competition, and you could win. Well, you'll have to listen and find out what you could win. You can hear my conversation with Caroline in a moment, but first, here's this week's life hack, and after the interview is this week's quiz, and of course the answer to last week's question. Enjoy. Here's this week's handy hint. Now, you'll find advice like this in my Best Life Journal, which I know you're fed up of hearing about already. But do this. Try something new every day. Something small, like walk a different way to work. Start a conversation, maybe in the works canteen with someone who you wouldn't normally talk to. Try a different food. Refuse one glass of wine. Resist one snack. Small steps make a big change, because ultimately it's our habits that define our success. Caroline, it's absolutely lovely to have you here on the podcast, the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast, because I heard you speak recently, and what made me think I want to talk to Caroline on the podcast is something that you said, and that was that you'd always wanted to be a published author, and even though you've had a very varied and successful career in other fields, you hadn't done anything about writing. And in your mid-50s, I think it was, you said, I suddenly decided
that I was going to stop talking about writing and do it, start writing. And you did. And now you're a successful author with how many books under your belt?
Marcia, thank you. It's lovely to be with you. Absolutely great to be on this fabulous podcast for people who are of our age group. I always wanted to write. It was a big thing for me. I always had a dream. My dad always said to me, if you don't have a dream, how do you expect a dream to come true? So from a little girl, I had this dream to write, but I never really thought that I could fulfill it. I went to an all-girls grammar school in Congleton in Cheshire, and I absolutely hated it. I didn't do very well at school. I was quite bullied and I couldn't wait to leave. So my career took a completely different direction. And it was only when I was in my mid-50s that I actually thought, if you don't do something about this writing dream that you've got, you're going to go to your grave wondering, and what's the point of that? Exactly. So I literally glued my bum to the seat of the chair and started writing. And I had a very, very busy life at the time. It wasn't that I'd got hours to spend, days to spend, or months to spend and just get on with it. I had to fit it in around everything else that was going on in my life at that time.
Right. And did you have success straight away?
No, not at all.
No, you didn't.
I did, yes, indirectly. It took quite a while to come. I mean, initially, it took me a year to write the book, and it was a story that had been going around in my head for a long time. And I thought that it would be easy to go out and find a publisher and an agent. I'd actually managed to do this manuscript within 12 months, snatching time here and there between working, looking after my family. My mother's got Alzheimer's, all sorts of the usual problems that we all have and all experience. But it's that old adage, if you want something doing, ask a busy person, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I got the manuscript written, I thought, hey, fantastic, that's great. It's going to be on a bookshelf next week. And of course, it just doesn't happen like that, does it?
Yeah.
So I started sending it off to agents and publishers, and I just got rejection after rejection. I lost count of the number of rejections. So I don't know how you qualify success. To me, that wasn't very successful at that particular time. And I had to make a big decision. Well, is this going to stay in a drawer for the rest of my life, or what do I do from now? And at that time, 7 years ago, self-publishing was really finding its feet, and a lot of people had been, I could see that people were doing something and attaining success with it. So that's what I did. I sort of learned quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, self-publishing, it used to have a bit of a stigma, didn't it? Sort of,
it did.
Have you done that? You said, it's vanity publishing. But it's a huge industry now, and it's the way to go, isn't it?
It's a massive industry and a massive amount of books. Cream rises to the top, and so many books.
Yeah.
I can't remember the actual statistics on Amazon last year, but it was a huge percentage of best-selling successful books on one of the biggest book retailers are from self-published authors. And of course, self-published authors get picked up by the big five if they do extremely well, like E.L. James with 50 Shades, people like that. I did. I had to learn about self-publishing, and it's not easy. I wasn't particularly computer literate 7 years ago with the sort of things that I had to learn, how to format a book. I was blind to it, really. I'm very naive, I'm sure, but I did learn, and I uploaded it to various ebook platforms on an Easter Friday weekend, a bank holiday weekend, and then, my baby was out to the world, so to speak.
Right, yeah. It's a great moment.
Well, it's nerve-wracking, isn't it? It's you're bearing your soul, aren't you? This is something I'd wanted to do all my life. And you sort of, in those days, I used to read every review feeling sick all the time. Now you take them for whatever they are.
I mean, I think another thing that you said that struck me was that you write about what you know, because a lot of people say, I'm not qualified in anything. What do I know? Well, I'm sorry, if you're over 50, you've got 50 years experience in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Something. And you said you wrote about what you know. You are an expert in that. You're an expert in what your experience has been, aren't you?
I think we're all experts, whether we realise it or not.
Exactly,
we're experts in bringing children up. We're experts in all the various jobs we have. We're experts in being homemakers. We're expert in relationships. We've all got that experience, and I don't think we realise that we've got it. My background, I actually, instead of going into sort of a literary world that I longed for when I left school, I went into the hospitality industry, and that I found absolutely fascinating, because hotel or a restaurant or anything in the hospitality environment, it's a revolving door. You've got different people coming through all the time, and all the time I was watching and listening and learning and thinking that would make a good story, or I could use that. So when I eventually decided to sit down and write, I thought, well, what do I know? What can I write about? And I thought, write about what you know. Where have you been? What have you done? And for me, that seemed to work.
It's your knowledge, and of course it's right because it's your experience. And this is what I keep having conversations with people about. They just say, but I don't know anything. But you do.
You do. Come on one of my workshops. We'll soon have you writing a book. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll get a link for that at the end. I wanted to ask, how long did it take you to make writing your career?
3 years ago, I sort of took the plunge, and I was running a business at the time, had a busy life, and I just thought, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. And I kind of walked out of my life, really. I sold my house, I went traveling, and I wrote a book while I was away, came back and found a new publisher. I'd reached the point where I wasn't happy with what I was doing, and I thought, well, now is the time to do something about it. And so I did. And I jumped in with 2 feet. At our time of life, you think, can you make that change? Can you give up the security of an income that's regular every month? It was a big decision to make, but I wasn't happy, Marsha. I just wasn't feeling that what I was doing on a day-to-day basis was right for me. And I thought, well, again, if you don't do it, you'll never know. So 3 years ago I did, and I'm really glad that I made that decision, because writing is now what I do on a full-time basis.
I think there's 2 things there. Is by this age we've learned that being happy is actually more important than anything else, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And also that things don't change overnight. You've got to be prepared to take the small steps, but change is absolutely possible.
And I think one big argument is for a lot of people say, I can't afford to do it. Financially, I can't afford to do it. I mean, my age group comes under the girls, the back to 60 girls, and I know you're all out there who won't be getting your pensions till you're 66.
Exactly,
I'm one of them. And that's had a big effect on a lot of people. I just truly believe you will find the way with all. You will find the way. I had to cut back, cut my cloth, everything, take a part-time job, do anything. But if you truly believe that you can do it, you will find the way to do it.
Of course, absolutely. You've got to make your dream come true. If you want it badly enough, you'll make it happen, won't you?
Absolutely. You've only got one shot at it.
So you definitely feel more fulfilled now, because you had a very exciting career, didn't you, in the hospitality industry?
I've had great highs in my life, so I've had great lows in my life. Am I more fulfilled now? I'm as fulfilled as I've ever been. I've been fulfilled in jobs before. I was 24 years old when I owned a pub. That was my first business that I owned. I was 31 when I owned a country house hotel. So it's sort of, you're never too young to do something, but neither are you too old. Here I am in my early 60s and I'm writing full time. Am I more fulfilled? It's comparable to everything else. But if I wasn't doing it, I know I wouldn't be fulfilled, because when I write now, the feeling I get is the feeling that I think this is what you were born to be doing. This is what you're meant to be doing.
In the time that you were making all these big decisions, did you get any resistance from friends and family?
My family are very supportive. I've always been very supportive. Friends, I think, too, have been supportive. Sometimes I thought people don't quite get it. They don't quite understand what I'm doing. But nobody's actually going to say to your face, I think you're crazy. Even though I may get a gut feeling that that's how they felt. Nobody's actually going to say it to you, are they? So on the whole, I'm very lucky because the support was there.
Certainly for me, a lot of the indecision has been around, well, I don't want to let my daughters down. I don't want to upset the apple cart. You're always doing things to please other people. And you realise there comes a time when you think, I'm going to do what I want now.
Well, I think even more so at our age. Yeah, we've been people pleasers all our lives, haven't we? Whether it's family, work, job commitments, everything. You know, I don't necessarily think it's just a female thing, but it is our time now. It really is our time. I remember 3 years ago looking around at people of my age group, and I thought, not everybody's happy at the minute. I can feel it. I can see it. I did some research before I went away and wrote a book called The Best Boomerville Hotel. And the research surprised me. 3 years ago, I discovered that 1 in 3 people in the UK live on their own over the age of 50. And that actually quite shocked me. It may have changed now, but as I was growing up and in my parents' generation, you'd never have had that statistic. It just didn't happen. And why is it happening? Is it through breakdowns of relationships? Is it through death? Is it through choice? Whatever it is, it's a fact. And so that we have this large majority of people who live on their own. Well, what are they actually doing? And when I started talking to people to do the research for the book, I realized that a lot of people are just treading along, you know, that they're not altogether happy with what they were doing. And that's why I wanted to write a book that would motivate them and say, come on, let's run down that road to old age, not stagger along on our Zimmer frames. Let's embrace it.
I love that.
And have a bit of fun.
Yes, I've got that book. Tell me the full title. It's Boomerville, isn't it?
The book is called, funny, I just happen to have one to hand.
Oh, there we are.
The Best Boomerville Hotel.
Right. And tell us a bit about that, because I know you said when I met you that it's about people like us, isn't it? But as you say, they're not on the Zimmer frames. They're having a blinking good time. So is it a bit of comedy, or is it
it is. I think it comes under romantic comedy, but I liked a book that will make you cry as well, and I cover sort of all sorts of issues. So the book is set in Cumbria, which is a county I know very well. I lived there for nearly 10 years. It's where my pub was. It's where my country house hotel was. And I decided, because I knew the country house hotel, again, going back to what you know, it was a place I was familiar with. I knew every brick, every pathway in the garden. I'd use that as a base to write this story. So Boomerville is a hotel where anybody over the age of 50 can go and stay. They can book a week, they can book a couple of weeks or a month, and they can go on different courses, all fictional stuff, of course, but, you know, they might do creative writing, pottery, the normal sort of courses, but they can also do some wacky things. There's a shaman, a resident shaman, who has a big teepee in the meadow at the end of the garden, so they can drift off down there every morning and get stoned with the shaman. Queenie has a gypsy caravan in the meadow. They can go and do clairvoyance with her and drag up the dead granny and Rover the dog and all that sort of thing. So it's a bit of fun, but it brings together a sort of an eclectic mix of characters. Some are in their 80s, some are in the 50s, but they come to stay at Boomerville, and it's a period in time. What happens to those people? Cumbria also was terribly hit with some awful floods a couple of years ago, so I include the floods, and there's a bit of drama and all that sort of thing, but it's done well. I'm proud of the book. It's been described, one reviewer described it as Britain's answer to the Marigold Hotel, so I thought, that's a nice thing to say about it.
So it's a feel-good book.
It is definitely a feel-good book. And men read it too. Don't just think it's the ladies. It's not just the girls. I get men writing to me saying, I'd never in a million years have picked this book up, but it was on my wife's bedside table, or I saw it in the library, and I absolutely loved it. And so, you know, it's not just for the girls, it's for the boys as well.
Yeah. You mentioned that you do creative writing workshops as well.
I do workshops just to help motivate. I like to empower people, Marcia. 7 years ago, nobody helped me. That's not a critical thing or a complaint, but I didn't know where to go. I had absolutely no idea how to approach other authors or embrace other authors. And writing is a very lonely business. You know, you sit on that chair hour after hour after hour. And I just thought, what can I do to help other people? So I do sort of mentor 1 or 2 authors. People will come to me and I take them through their publishing journey. And in a workshop, again, it's just a mentoring thing, particularly with older people. I do lots of talks in libraries as well, anything to do with creative writing groups, which is a big mixed age range, but a lot of people are of an older age group, and they feel quite motivated by the talks.
Yeah, because I think that's really important. It's something I only discovered as I moved along my online marketing journey. I was getting nowhere. At one point, I did realise that I'm not doing what everyone says. I'm not networking with people. I'm not telling other people how I feel, telling other people what my problems are. I'm just keeping it all inside my head and thinking, no, I can do this.
Okay.
And it was only when I started talking to other people who were
Yes.
doing what I'm doing
Yeah.
that I started making progress. I think
Yeah.
that's another hurdle, isn't it? That
It is.
I'm a writer, I'll sit at home and write, but you don't get anywhere. But if you start sort of sharing ideas and knowledge,
I think it's all about coming out of your comfort zone, isn't it?
Exactly.
It really is. And I think as we get older and we lose our confidence, it's harder and harder to do. People think I'm very confident. I'm not. I'm nearly sick when I walk on a stage, or whether there's 2 people or 200 people out there. It is completely a question of coming out of your comfort zone. But if I don't, well, nobody will know who I am. Nobody will know what I'm talking about. And when I do it, there may be a queue of people, or people will email me or contact me. And if I can help them, I will. But it helps me too, you know. It's that old thing, you know, about giving. It feels good to give as much as it does to receive. So you have to accept that as well.
Tell us about you. What do you do when you're not writing?
Okay, what do I do when I'm not writing? I like trekking. I like climbing mountains. I haven't done a mountain for a little while because I broke my foot when I was in the Caribbean just over a year ago, and that's taken quite a long time to heal. So it's more hills than mountains at the minute. But I've trekked all over the place. I've trekked in China. I've trekked in South America. At home, I've done the 3 Peaks. Ben Nevis I found thrilling. The weather wasn't particularly good, so that was quite exciting. But I do like to get out there. And it's another thing we can all do. It doesn't matter how old you are, particularly in older age. It's good for your bones, doesn't cost anything. All you've got to do is put one foot in front of the other and go out, whether you're walking with your dog on the canal, whatever. It's a feel-good thing. People talk to you, you talk to people. It's all about, you know, the mind and the mental side of things. So yeah, walking at the moment, I love walking the dogs. But I'd still go out and walk whether the dogs were there or not. So that's a big thing for me. Cooking, I really do like to cook. I find cooking very therapeutic. Yesterday I was writing and the house was quiet, and I just went and made some scones. I know we all do that. I shouldn't probably be making scones because as always I'm on a diet, but I find cooking very therapeutic. And my life has been in the hospitality industry. I've worked with some of the best chefs in the industry, and I've seen and been around food all my life. So I love food. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it brings people together, and there's nothing I like more than to have people at the table. And you know, we're talking and chatting around a lovely table of food. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. And it will stir your creative juices as well, won't it?
Yeah. I just think I think it's lovely. Even if you just bake a cake for your neighbour, you know, just go and knock on somebody's door. Well, I love it, don't you? If somebody gives you a pot of jam or something like that,
you
know
to know that someone's
it means
thought
a lot,
about
doesn't
you.
it?
Yeah,
of course it does.
Of course it does. Yeah. It's funny what you say about walking, because I recently walked just a week's worth of the Portuguese Camino.
Oh, fantastic. Did you really?
I'm not a walker, sort of, per se. I think I have done the odd day in the lakes, but I've never walked on a walking holiday before.
Wow.
But I'm 58 and I was one of the youngest that we saw all week.
Right.
And it is a wow factor, because
yes, I'm sure
there were people of all shapes and sizes from all over the world.
Fantastic.
Some of them come to walk for 6 weeks, and they were all older than me. Yeah. My last question.
Yeah.
If you were to meet the teenage Caroline now, what would she say to you? What would she think she was proud of? And what might she say, oh, that didn't turn out quite how I was expecting?
The teenage Caroline wasn't particularly happy with herself. She didn't have any confidence. She had a dream, and she knew that she'd fulfill her dream. So what she would say to me now, fantastic, I'd punch the air, you did it, you did it. It took a long time, but you actually fulfilled that dream. As an older person, what would I say to the teenage girl? Just take it all in your stride. It's all good. The bad is good. The bad makes the good good. You know, if you don't have the bad experiences, you'll never appreciate the good experiences. So just embrace it all and be kind to people. I think that's a big thing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And is there anything that she would think, oh, we should have done that differently?
I don't really think you should ever look back, Marsha. I don't think you should ever say, I've made lots of mistakes in my life, but if I dwelt on my mistakes, I'd never move forward. I just don't think you can look back. And if you do look back, just think, well, that was an experience. And I accept it, and might not have done it the correct way. I'd do it differently now. But learn from it and just go forward, and don't beat yourself up. We beat ourselves up all the time, don't we, for all sorts of reasons. But just accept it and enjoy it.
Right, yeah, just look forward. Now, going back to Boomerville, you've got a mascot, haven't you?
Bertie is actually a marketing tool. He came about because I wanted a sublime way to market my book, The Best Boomerville Hotel. So I thought, when you go to a posh hotel, what's very often on the bed? It's a teddy bear with the logo of the hotel on. And because you sleep with the bear or you fall in love with the bear during your stay, you very often buy him and take him home. So I thought, if I've got a little bear that markets The Best Boomerville Hotel, let's see how we get on with it. So Bertie comes everywhere with me. He's got his own Instagram account, and I take him all over the world. And he is he's just a great little fellow. I've actually fallen in love with him, Marsha.
I should say as well, because this is we're on video as well, but because this is also a podcast, Caroline has got this gorgeous, cute little bear with a white T-shirt on that says Best Boomerville Hotel on it. And he is very lovely. You will want one when you see it.
He is a little sweetie. He is, and he comes in his own travelling bag. He's got his little bag that he took him away in and pack him up when he goes off on his travels. So that's Bertie, Boomerville Bertie. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. And did you say that one of our listeners might be able to get hold of one of those?
Oh, very much so, yeah. We're going to run a little competition. So the competition winner will receive a Boomerville Bertie in his own travelling bag, and we'll also get a signed copy of The Best Boomerville Hotel. And this will all be beautifully gift wrapped and sent to them.
Oh, excellent. So I will put details of how you can enter the competition, but basically we're not going to ask you to do anything too onerous.
No, it could be very easy. Yeah.
And it will involve social media.
Yeah.
I will put the links and the instructions on how to enter in the show notes, and I will also explain after this interview when we've sorted the details out.
Perfect. Absolutely great. Yeah. Bertie goes all over the world. Everybody always wants a Bertie to join the family, so good luck everybody with that one.
So lovely. Oh, everybody will want to win this, right? It's been absolutely lovely talking to you, and it's so inspirational to hear that it's only sort of the last 7 years that you've concentrated on a writing career. And bit by bit, with perseverance, it has happened. It didn't happen overnight.
No.
You have certainly changed your life from where you were, not that it's a bad life, but you are now where you always wanted to be.
And who knows what will happen next, you know. What will I be doing at 73, 83? Who knows? It's all exciting stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like that saying, I don't want people to be saying, oh, what a sweet old lady. I want them to be saying, oh, God, what's she up to now?
God, what's she up to now, my kids say. Brilliant.
It's been absolutely lovely talking to you, Caroline. And we'll get this competition going. And
fabulous.
Somebody will be the proud owner of a lovely Bertie Bear in time for Christmas.
They certainly will.
Bertie's waving, everyone. say bye-bye to Bertie. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here's this week's quiz question. What number could you count up to before your lips had to touch together? Tricky, eh? The answer to last week's quiz question was, of course, MS Braemar, which is a ship operated by Fred Olsen Cruise Lines. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, who wants to win a Boomerville Bertie Bear? As Caroline mentioned, this cute little bear comes gift wrapped, all ready for Christmas, together with his own travelling bag and a personally signed copy of The Best Boomerville Hotel, which, as you know, is by Caroline James. So to be in with a chance to win, just follow and like our pages on social media. So that's Marsha at Gurgle It on Facebook and DreamLife50+ on Instagram. The links are in the show notes. And tell us why you would like to win a Bertie Bear. Good luck, and the competition closes on the 16th of November. Before we go, I just wanted to apologise for any sound interference during our interview. I have no idea what it was. It sounds like we're both jingling our jewellery or something, but we weren't. I've checked the video and there was nothing in the way of the mics, so I don't know what it was. Anyway, I hope it didn't spoil your enjoyment. Enter the competition, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time. The Directory of a Dream Life 50+ podcast is created and produced by me, Marsha Ogden, and it's available on several platforms. So please keep listening. There are links below in the show notes, and you can also follow me on Facebook. The page name is Marsha at Gurgle It, which is MARCHIA at AT Gurgle It, GURGLEIT. Or you can have a look at the website, gurgleit.com. There are links below to the website and to the workshops and the journal. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just drop me a line at marsha@gurgleit.com or leave a voice message on here with details of your topic. Have a fantastic week and I'll see you next time.